In the previous video for Chinese film classics, we discussed Sun Yu's 1934 film Sports Queen in relation to the persona of its star actress, Li Lili, and the larger context of sports as an emerging part of modern culture. In this video, we'll talk about three things: how the film balances political messaging and entertainment, how it blends documentary style with its fictional storytelling, and how Sports Queen set several precedents followed by later Chinese films. Sports Queen uses its female star to introduce the larger structure of institutionalized modern athletics, and to link this to the aspirational ideology of nation building. At several points, the film expresses refrains promoted by the New Life movement, 新生活运动, launched by the nationalist government that same year, 1934. The campaign hoped to instill patriotism, Confucian-style obedience to authority, and hygienic modernity in the populace. It advocated moral and physical conditioning, and involved anti-vice campaigns against gambling, prostitution, nightclub dancing, and degeneracy, as well as promoting militarism and sports. In Lin Ying's first conversation with her father in the film, at her uncle's house, she tells him, "Daddy, I know why China's not strong. First and foremost is because people's bodies are weak." Sports were closely tied to modern politics more broadly as well. Before the 1911 revolution, China had martial arts, or wushu. After the advent of the Republic of China in 1912, these indigenous forms were rebranded as national arts, guoshu. In 1933, the leading Kuomintang political figure, Dr. Chu Mingyi, the chairman of the Commission for the Establishment of National Hygiene, posed for Modern Student magazine shirtless, in beefcake photos that showed off his powerful upper body musculature. Jianshen, or working out, and jianmei, robust beauty, a term that was later used for bodybuilding, became buzzwords of the day, and intellectuals like Quentin Pan promoted eugenics and other theories for strengthening the body. In 1941, the Shanghai Fitness Academy released a special interest magazine on bodybuilding called Jian Li Mei, which might be translated as health, power, and beauty, or as the beauty of a robust physique. In 1937, Chu Mingyi made a short demonstration video of Chinese athletics, which you can still see on YouTube, in which he performs Tai Chi, pushing hands or Tui Shou, hacky sack, archery, and various hybrid calisthenics and resistance exercises. At the beginning of the video, he bows to the camera wearing the green uniform and wide-brimmed hat of the Scouts of China, 中华民国童军, a patriotic youth organization akin to the Boy Scouts, which was founded in 1912 and formally recognized by the nationalist government in 1934, same year that Sports Queen was made. Groups of Boy Scouts appear several times in the second half of the film, including as a marching band in the stands during a montage of the Far East qualifying trials, and again marching in formation at the end of the film. This organization meant to inculcate conformity, discipline, and patriotism in the young male generation. Sports Queen extends the message of self-strengthening for the nation to women and harnesses women's charisma to the cause. That charisma, however, had to be of a specific type. Li Lili's healthy female body projected an alternative to the slinky sensuality of Chinese-American actress Anna May Wong. Wong wore silks and smoked in shadowy interiors. Li dressed for physical activity and got air in her lungs in the great outdoors. Wong penciled her eyebrows and wore makeup. Li appeared in her natural state, often not even bothering to do her hair. One slinked in high heels, the other ran barefoot. Li's robust physique and upbeat personality also appears in films like Little Toys from 1933 as a contrast to the delicate, fragile, and melancholy persona of Ran Lingyu's characters. Yet while promoting healthy patriotism, Sports Queen also offers various types of visual pleasure. We see cute children, including the boy actor who appeared as the son of Ran Lingyu's character in Goddess, and animals, notably the white dog Ying capers around with and teaches to beg for treats. Amidst the crowd at the track, 1930s moviegoers would also recognize a cameo by star actress Wang Renmei, the female lead in Sun Yu's recent hit Wild Rose, Ye Mei Gui. One early comic set piece involves both slapstick and verbal humor. the straight-laced and skinny young Master Gao, who arrives at the Lin's while Ying is playing with the dog upstairs, is a foil to Ying's strong body and outgoing personality. Invited over by Ying's aunt, who hopes to set the two up, he has the surprise of his life when Ying barrels down the stairs and literally jumps into his arms, knocking him onto a sofa. He picks himself up off the floor, as well as the candies and flowers he had brought for her, and then starts reciting this prepared courtship speech, which sends Ying into uncontrollable giggles. "Daddy," she asks, "why does he keep talking about 密室, secret shit?" A homophone of miss, 密室, miss, and 屁人, fart people, a homophone of your humble servant. Her dad jokes, "Ying, Shanghai is full of secret shit and fart people." The comedy continues at school. During early classroom scenes, the perky Ying's studious note-taking is contrasted twice with the cross-eyed stare of a dull classmate. When Yin Xiu-Chen's character Big Bug appears as a chubby gardener, he is carrying a rake, the same weapon used by the comic figure Piggy from the Ming novel Journey to the West. He and Han Lan-geng's character Little Harry reappear throughout the film for comic relief and to comment on the main action. One of the most striking edits in the film occurs at the end of the girls' dormitory sequence, when a shot of the back of women in their underclothes, brushing their teeth at the wash basins, tilts down to their posteriors and then dissolves to show the wiggling rumps of Big Bug and Little Harry. The graphic match converts sexual pleasure into comic pleasure, as the pair mimic the hygienic modernity that the female athletes have just modeled for us. Another type of visual pleasure derives from the extensive use of cinematography emphasizing geometric shapes. We have wipes in various patterns, clockwise curved spirals, diagonal straight lines, and trapezoids. These dominate the sports meet montages, such that we see not just bodies in motion, but also shapes in motion. At the dark moment following Qiu Hua's death, when Ying decides not to run in the afternoon, a high-angle shot shows girls of the Jinghua team lying in a circle on a divan, with their heads together and their legs out. The shot turns bodies into geometric shapes in a manner similar to Busby Berkeley's high-angle and bird's-eye view shots of showgirls in Depression-era films like Footlight Parade from 1933. Sports Queen also gives viewers a look inside the novel institution of a women's sports academy. Several of the students sport stereotypical co-ed costumes with beanies and scarves. The intertitle, A New Life, is followed by a sequence that shows us where these young women sleep, change, toilet, and bathe. A series of crane shots and tracking shots shows the girls springing into action with a wake-up bell, doing stretches and bicycling their legs in the air in bed, washing their faces and brushing teeth at a double row of basins, and taking showers. The sequence was likely inspired by the 1932 Hollywood film The Kid from Spain, in which Betty Grable's character, lying in bed, looks at the camera and says,
"We're opening this story by giving you a peek into a dormitory where all the pretty co-eds sleep."
The song and dance number that follows, choreographed by Busby Berkeley, features the Goldwyn girls as college students, getting out of bed, taking a dip in the pool, and changing in the morning. Sports Queen adapts this conceit, but with less stylized symmetry. And whereas Leo McCarey's pre-code film confronts the viewer with sexuality, Sun Yu's integrates it into the plot with more naturalistic acting and cinematography, panning from girls at the wash basin to a row of steamy showers where one girl passes the soap to another. The soap may well have been Lux Toilet Soap, which the multinational corporation Unilever recruited movie stars to endorse in both Hollywood and China. As historian Eugenia Lean notes, Li Lili appeared in Lux ads in 1935. Ranling Yu and Butterfly Wu also endorsed the product. Li later appeared in full-page advertisements for running shoes as well. So Li's role as an icon of hygienic modernity breaks the fourth wall in this scene, when Ying, brushing her teeth, looks directly into the camera mirror, which zooms in on her perfect teeth. Sports Queen, in other words, is simultaneously a product of cinematic culture, national politics, and a commercial culture involving consumer products. Like pinup girl Grable, whose legs were insured for $1 million as a publicity stunt, Li Lili was famous for her legs. A Sports Queen production still from the girls' dormitory sequence shows Li in the foreground, lying on a bed with her legs splayed in the air. Other scenes in the film showcase Li's legs as well. For example, in the scene of her preparing for her date with Mr. Hu, she changes from her school clothes into a qipao, stockings, and high heels. Her cousin and her classmates watch with disapproval, but the camera invites voyeurism with an extended shot of a raised, stockinged thigh. Politics shapes not only the theme of Sports Queen, but also its form. Especially in the second half, the film shifts from drama to documentary. Several shots emphasize the role of media, as Ying, the smiling principal, and other athletes repeatedly pose after the races for the cameras. Shots of the press recording the event imbue the film with a self-referential quality, as if it's a newsreel in the making, alluding to the filmmaker's own role in capturing the nation's athletic progress on camera for the broader public. During many track and field scenes, plot recedes and spectacle comes to the fore. A montage builds excitement and anticipation of the Far East qualifying trials by showing rapid images of velocity, convergence, and spectacle. We see the Shanghai Bund, docks, a pair of rushing trains superimposed at a canted angle to form an X. Repeated low-angle shots show flags representing different provinces. Panning shots show runners, followed by a low-angle shot of the first finisher crossing the line. This blend of feature film and documentary styles employs sports cinematography and editing techniques that were later found on an epic scale in Leni Riefenstahl's two-part film Olympia from 1938. The transition from drama to documentary is completed in the final minutes of the film, which leave Ying and Mr. Yun still on the track and cut to shots of Boy Scouts marching in formation and mass calisthenics on sports fields. The call is to national unity and synchronized action. As spectators, we too should care not just about this little drama, but about the larger drama of the body politic. In terms of influence and legacy, Sports Queen incorporates several elements that reappear in the 1935 film New Women. Yin Xu, who plays the butch Yun Yan in this film, for example, when Ying first sees her, she squeezes her bicep and smiles complimentarily. She's often typecast in a similar role in New Women as the working-class heroine Ah Ying. Actress Wang Moqiu, who plays the petty rival Ai Zheng, reappears in New Women as the insincere and corrupt Mrs. Wong. In both films, Yin's and Wang's characters are foils to the star. The two films are also similar in their representation of heterosexual romance. In Sports Queen, Ying flirts with Yun Peng, who chastises her for wearing makeup. In New Women, Wei Ming drapes her arms over the gentlemanly Yu Haichou in her apartment, but he rebuffs her advances, and she calls him an iceberg. Both films contrast a forward woman with the reserved, self-possessed figure of a man. In both, the romance ends up being unconsummated, and the relationship is made to serve a social message instead. Sports Queen established an archetype of the female athlete film. In 1957, director Xie Jin revived this theme during the cultural thaw of the 100 Flowers movement with the film Woman Basketball Player No. 5, 女篮5号. After the communist victory in 1949, the party state began referring to the People's Republic of China as New China, 新中国, as opposed to the old society, 旧社会, and it launched various political campaigns to rejuvenate the populace. Xie's film, like Sun Yu's, is set in a girls' school and features a male coach teaching a young female standout athlete and her teammates how to be better, more disciplined team players for the nation. Like Sports Queen, Xie Jin's film also includes scenes from daily life in a women's dormitory and shows peppy girls in short shorts. Xie Jin's 1961 film Red Detachment of Women, which features scenes of mass female training in a military context, also relies on the draw of the spectacle of collective female exercise. But, though subtitled The Story of a Good Basketball Team, Woman Basketball Player No. 5 devotes extensive narrative time to the male coach and to the misfortunes he experienced in the old society. The 1961 Mandarin-language Hong Kong film Sports Queen, 体育皇后, translated in English as Beauty Parade, combines the original Sports Queen's formula of female athleticism, physical attractiveness, and comedy with woman basketball player number 5's focus on basketball. The film, starring Kitty Ting and directed by Tang Huang, begins with a solemn title card advising that the film is meant to promote athletics. In fact, it plays up the classmate rivalries within the girls' school as well as the comedy. An opening montage of female student athletes has an archer puncturing a basketball with an arrow and one swimmer jumping off the starting blocks in a dress. The first we see of the heroine, she is slopping pigs in her village. And at school, she has the chubby comedian Liu Enjia providing pratfalls as her mentor. Initially mocked as a rustic, she wins over her classmates with her charm and her athletic prowess, lifting the basketball team to victory. Curiously, however, the filmmakers gave this wholesome girl athlete a name that, since the publication of a 1942 novella, had been synonymous with raw female sexual desire and suffering, 郭素娥. That's another story entirely. But what Sports Queen, woman basketball player number 5, and Beauty Parade all testify to, among other things, is the enduring appeal of the cinematic spectacle of sportswomen and filmmakers' habit of using them to tell multiple stories.